Welcome back. Maida here. I do all things crafty, from painting, sewing, and scrapbooking. This week I went to Sri Lanka to visit some family, and instead of making big paintings all the time, I opted to make 5-minute paintings every single day. We took a weekend trip to the beach, so for 2 days I painted by the beach, and it was so soothing. My first painting, if you can't already tell, is a lotus flower. This beautiful flower is often given as offerings in Buddhist temples. It represents rebirth and reincarnation, but spirituality aside, it's a beautiful flower. Let's jump into materials. I'm painting on this 3x3 watercolor notebook that I bound together using glue and paper. It's just Michael's watercolor paper, which is probably the cheapest watercolor paper you can find on the market. I've never used any of the expensive stuff, and I'm kind of scared to try because I fear my bank account may hate me if I do. I'm using the Winsor & Newton Cotman travel watercolor set. I carry this set with me everywhere I go. I was actually at the Bryant Park Winter Village a couple weeks ago, and I dropped my watercolor set, and someone picked that up for me, and I was like, oh, sorry, that's just my watercolor set. And this older lady was like, oh yeah, of course, everyone carries one of those in their purse. For my brush, I'm using the Koi Sakura water brush. I'm actually not a huge fan of water brushes, but it can be convenient for a 5-minute painting. For some of my other paintings, I use the Princeton Neptune travel brush in size 6, which is my favorite brush right now. It holds water really well, and it gives you a lot of control over your painting, but sometimes you can't beat the convenience of a brush where water just comes out of it. Maybe I'm a perfectionist, but I feel like this painting actually looks nothing like a lotus flower, but it still looks pretty, and I guess that's really what matters. The biggest thing I found with these 5-minute paintings was that it gave me practice on drawing something every day so I didn't lose my craft and my ability to paint, and also gave me a good way to remember what I saw that day. But it wasn't really creating art that I was super proud of, which is okay. You don't always have to make amazing art. Sometimes I get asked where I learned to watercolor, and the truth is I never did. I haven't even taken an art class past the 8th grade. I've just watched a lot of YouTube videos of seeing what other people do, and I learn a lot from them. So I was really excited to post this video so I could show how I do things. This next painting I actually love so much. My dad and I are big into collecting seashells. It always feels like a little bit of a competition on who can get the better shell, and I think I won. I found a sand dollar, but then I put it in my pocket to climb a rock and it crushed. So you get to see some other seashells that I collected that were super cute. One thing I wasn't so sure about for this 5-minute challenge was if drying time was part of the 5 minutes. For some of them, I did incorporate drying time. For this one, I could not. There was a lot of layering that was happening, so I really wanted that extra time. So I only counted that 5 minutes of active painting. When it was drying, I just sat and listened to the ocean. I guess that's the perk of making your own challenge. You can kind of just decide the rules and change them whenever you want. On that note of the challenge, it was actually a lot harder than I expected to find 5 minutes a day to paint, especially on a family vacation with a family as big as mine. I wanted to spend time with my family, but I think these 5 minutes a day gave me some time to decompress and be alone. Although I love socializing, I get overstimulated really easily, so just some painting time was kind of a godsend. There were, I think, about 2 days where I actually didn't find the time to paint. I kind of forgot about it. I was a little living in the moment. One of the days we went to like 3 museums, so there was just no chance I was going to be painting something because I love a good museum. I love learning some history. In the beginning of December, I painted a calendar spread every day for 2 weeks, which was a different challenge that was actually a lot harder than this 5-minute one, but took a little less mental stimulation. I I still haven't found the right amount of painting that works within my lifestyle. Obviously, this was a vacation, so I had more time to paint, but I'm trying to think of like how often I should paint in a year, whether that's once a week, twice a week, I don't really know. Whatever kind of gets my juices flowing, but also doesn't feel like a chore. Feel free to leave a comment about your painting goals for the year, whether you want to start or how often you want to do it. Also, let me know if you like the traveling painting content. It's a little bit different than the videos I have on Instagram and TikTok, but it was really fun, so I could do a little bit more. But I'll need to work on my anxiety over filming in public. With limited time, I found that less is more, so leaving as much white space as possible, and also just picking pieces that wouldn't be super time consuming. If you know me, I paint a lot of cards and buildings. And buildings are very time consuming because there's things like bricks and lots of layers and shadows, and it just did not work for 5 minutes. There was one specifically that I hated so much that I almost threw away this whole idea, but I actually ended up making a longer version of that painting. I spent a lot more time on it and actually really enjoyed it, so I learned something, so that's okay. But for the rest of the paintings, I did small objects like these seashells. All of the paintings from this series will be posted on Shorts and Reels and TikTok, so feel free to follow me there to see all of them. Sorry that this one keeps getting blurry. My face kept getting into it. I was like super into this painting that I didn't pay any attention to what I was filming, and y'all are getting the repercussions of that, but just know that I had so much fun, so please forgive me. This is my Twisby Eco with Noodler's Lexington Gray inks. I hope you enjoyed my 2 beach paintings, and please subscribe for more.